Bismillah. Okay, Gary, are you fasting today, Gary?
I am, yes. Yes, fasting today.
So how are you today?
Good. I'm fasting, but it's working well.
Yeah, I hope you're good in a good shape and good health, yeah?
Yes, yeah, all
Gary,
healthy.
okay, in the first question, can you tell us about yourself and what your activities in advance?
Well, I'm from a small town back in England, back in the UK, and I've been working here for a while now in Indonesia. It's fantastic here. I love it. It's hot, but I like it. It's great.
So you're very comfortable to work in here?
Yeah. I've been teaching English for a while now.
Yeah.
When I came here, it was my first time teaching, so it was a little nerve-wracking to start with.
Okay. So since when do you work in Jakarta? When you started to work in Jakarta?
I started working here about 3 years ago.
Yeah. Before you work in Jakarta, where you worked before?
I used to work back in the UK in a warehouse for a postal service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
How long you working there?
I was working there for quite a long time. I think it was about 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was working there.
So Gary, can you tell us about the background about your family before?
My family, so what can I say? All my family come from the same area. They're all quite old-fashioned in ways. We were raised on a farm, which was lovely. It's fantastic. So we were raised in a farming family, a working family. Yeah.
So Gary, is it true that you are a Christian before?
I wasn't actually. I was agnostic. I think.
Agnostic.
I think is the best way to describe what I was. Yeah. Where we did go to church, but only for events, only for weddings, funerals, things like this. But I wasn't completely atheist. I think I was agnostic. I always had thoughts about it. I was always interested, but I didn't ever push it to find out what happened until this.
When exactly did you learn you're interesting about Islam? When?
Back when I was in school, obviously I'd done a little, but not much at all. So it wasn't then. It was when I met a person online. Mm-hmm. We'd been talking. It was from 2009. We started to speak online, and this person who lived here in Indonesia, she was Muslim, like most people here, and to start with, we were just talking about like bands, music, movies, the usual things, and then I found out about Islam, and I thought it was interesting, the history of it, everything about it, and I was just asking lots and lots of questions, and then she explained as best as possible everything that she could, everything that I asked, and I just became more and more interested in it.
So you have a big influence to impact you to learn about Islam, the big influence, I mean.
There wasn't anything that big to start with. I just found it really interesting to start with. The way it explained things made more sense.
So, Gary, because you learned about Islam, what's your perspective, your view about Islam?
My view? I think it is a religion of peace and respect. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's about working peacefully with other people, not just Muslims, but everybody, being as peaceful as possible, leaving anger aside, ignoring all of that. I don't think that has a place in Islam, and respecting everybody and everything.
Gary, that's all the media, the Western media, is all the hook Islam in literally a perspective. So that is not, about that's changed your perspective about that give the media about the Western media.
The Western media, most of them don't understand Islam at all. They only see anything that happens which is bad. They don't see everything which is positive and good. So yeah, that's the problem.
So what your biggest reason to making the big decision to you convert to Islam?
It wasn't just the one thing. I think there was a few things, but first of all, it was how Islam explained everything, like the world around us, the human body, space, and the stars. It explained things. It told you how it worked. Yeah, that was quite a big thing. And then that kind of pushed me along further, but it wasn't quite enough. It just kept pushing me and pushing me. The more I researched and read about it, and then one day I thought and realised it was already after I gave up like alcohol and pork. I'd stopped that a long time before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was quite rare anyway. I drank or ate any pork of any kind, so I thought it's best just to stop that now. But then I realised later on that if I did want to drink some alcohol, a beer, or have some bacon, that I was afraid that I would anger God, Allah. And when I realised that I was nervous about it.
In your moment, you just in your heart said, "Oh, it's the wrong way."
Yeah, it did really think like this is wrong. Yeah, like all the way from like 16, 18 up, I was always drinking alcohol. Not every weekend, but most. And most weekends. Yeah, we go out on the weekends. We drink. Is the average normal thing in the UK.
Yeah.
But yeah, after I started learning about Islam, I did realise it's wrong, and I thought if I did happen to drink it, I'd regret it afterwards, and I'd be afraid of what would happen from Allah.
That's the culture in UK. Is so mind the perspective. Do you want to do it?
The alcohol, the drinking.
Alcohol, you know,
yeah, it's just the way everyone's raised.
The Irish, drinking alcohol is near us about the culture.
Yeah, it's all about the culture. It's about everything around you. Yeah, alcohol is everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're raised into it. Yeah.
So really, you have a special moments that you, I get to more learn about Islam and I must convert to Islam. You have a special moment.
Yeah, that was it was one morning I think when I was working in the warehouse where. Because my job didn't use a lot of thought. There's a lot of lifting and working, so I have lots of time to think. And I was just thinking about this, and if I made a mistake, the repercussions of what would happen, and the fact that I was afraid of Allah if I'd done something wrong.
So at the moment, you have friends that help you to know more about learning Islam. You have friends?
Yeah, there's a few people. There's of course.
So you learn alone about the internet and learn about the books, or just
to start with, I did learn a lot online. I use the internet a lot, and then I met. Well, of course, there's my wife now. That was the first person I spoke to. She helped as much as possible. But then I found a man. He used to live in the same area as me back in the UK, and he become Muslim quite a long time ago, and he's living in Saudi Arabia now, and he's learned a lot about Islam over his life, and because he was from the same place as me, it was quite easy for us to speak. So, and we met as well online, and we spoke a lot. He answered a lot of my questions, and after a while he came to visit in the UK, and we spoke a lot again. He introduced me to some other people in the UK, some Muslims. I went to my first mosque. Everybody was fantastic. So yeah, the main two people, him and my wife.
Okay. Yeah. Can I stop for this?
Yes. Yeah.
Baiklah pemirsa, bagaimana tadi sedikit perbincangan awal kita di bagian pertama ini. Sebentar lagi kita akan menyambungkan episode kali ini di bagian kedua. Tetaplah di. Baiklah pemirsa, kali ini kita akan memasuki untuk segmen kedua, masih bersama Garry Williams dalam program Ketika Hidayah Menyapa. Well, Garry, can you explain the process about you convert to Islam once again?
Well,
can you tell us about the process?
Yeah. Once I'd really thought about it, but thought into it, this is what I want. I'd spoken to Alona about like what the process is, what it is I have to do, and then I'd spoke to my friend as well who was living abroad at the time, but he came to the UK to visit. He explained everything. He told me he'd help, so we went up to Bristol in the UK. We went to a mosque. We met lots of nice people, and they explained everything else as well. But the first time I spoke my shahada, sorry, hard to say. I was on my own, so I thought it was the right time, and there wasn't anybody there, so I spoke it on my own, and that's when I really started to think of myself.
If you say the shahada,
that was early 2010. 2010.
2010.
2010, yeah.
In Indonesia, in Jakarta? Or?
That was back in the UK.
Back to the UK?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I hadn't been here then. I came to Indonesia in 2010, but that was later on.
So, back to the UK?
Yeah. So at that time, I hadn't been here yet. So I'd only been in the UK.
Where in the UK? Where city? Or Moscow, something like that?
No, well, the first time it was on my own, so it was just at my home.
At your home?
I just spoke it myself.
Spoke myself?
Yeah. I spoke it myself. There was no other people. There was no mum, but I just wanted to speak it for myself. It kind of like it was only for me to really the first piece per step.
Okay, Gary, I think it's quite interesting. Why you take this idea for alone, yourself, not the other friends can help you, or
in the area I'm from, which is right in the bottom of the UK in the south. There isn't really any people you can talk to. There is one small mosque, which was about maybe half an hour to an hour away from my home, and apart from that, the next nearest mosque is a long, long way. So it wasn't as if there was anybody I could go and speak to, only online, of course.
So at the moment you became embraced to Islam, yeah?
Yeah, that was the first moment when I thought, right, this is it, this is what I want.
Really, that's not guide you to taking Sada, just from yourself, yeah?
Yeah, that was only for myself. And then the first time I'd done it officially, I had it all recorded, was before, when was that, 2010 as well, but later on. Later on, yeah. My Muslim friend had come from Arabia to the UK to visit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the one who introduced me to a lot.
They can help you for that.
Yeah.
Something to learn more about Islam.
Yeah, he helped a lot. He took me to an Islamic bookstore, so I got some books, lots of things to learn about Islam. I went to my first mosque. He introduced me to some people there. It's a place he lived in the past, so he knew quite a lot of the people.
So, what city in Moscow?
Bristol.
Bristol,
yeah, in the UK, in the south. So, yeah,
Gary, what do you feel after investing to Islam? How do you feel?
Once I've been welcomed by everybody, it felt really good, nice. It was fantastic. I was always happy, always smiling. It was for a long time, kind of like my life was just boring and plain, just working, living. There wasn't really a lot happening. But then this felt as if there was a big step up. It was really a big thing happening. So I was really happy about it. It was fantastic.
That is change you all about you, about to know again about your life. And now you became to prayer, to work, and then something else. It's a big impact for you?
In my life, there wasn't a major impact in my life to start with, because I was still living in the UK. I still had to work and do everything, but really the only impacts were I was having to learn to pray, which took some time, maybe 6 months to learn.
6 months.
All the words, everything I had to say, all the Arabic that was needed. And then the first year as well, 2010, I was fasting.
Fasting? You started fasting?
Yeah, in the first year in the UK. So of course that was a big change. So because it was only me.
So is that your first Ramadan?
Yeah, I was in the UK, but
how do you feel?
It was odd at first because I was the only one.
Yeah.
But it kind of made sense as well. It was.
Are you after you're embracing Islam? Are you stay living in your family, or you just move your apartment or something like that?
I was already in my own place. I'd left living with my parents quite a long time before. So I'd been in my own place for a long time.
Okay, Gary, I had you been married to an Indonesian woman.
Yeah.
So where did you meet her? Where did you first time to meet her?
Well, we spoke first online.
Online?
Yeah, we met through a
quite interesting.
Group for the band Linkin Park. Facebook, yeah. Facebook, yeah. We both liked the same band. Yeah. Linkin Park.
Okay.
And because of that, we started speaking. And it ended up we were speaking every day. So that led on and on, talking every day as much as possible.
Okay, so Gary is married with an Indonesian woman, not became your biggest vision to become Islam? Is that your big reason to marry an Indonesian woman?
No, it wasn't at all. No, it was.
So after you blessing to Islam and then you become to married with her, yeah?
Not right away, no. It was quite a long time.
A long time?
Yeah, it was because I came into Islam in 2010. We had started speaking in 2009. That's the reason I was introduced to Islam. That's how I started learning about it. But then, yeah, to start with, we were only friends, just talking a lot. But then I came to Indonesia in the end. We thought we had to meet. We've been talking for a long time. So I came here for a trip, a holiday.
So you were married in Jakarta? Or
yes, we were married at their parents' house.
What years?
2012.
2012?
2012 we married, yes.
So what is the response from your family and also your close friends about your convert to Islam?
Yeah, they were all really happy about it. They of course thought it was a bit odd at first, a bit strange, because for most people this doesn't happen. But yeah, everybody was happy and positive about it and asked lots of questions, like whys and hows. Yeah.
Can they give you a bad impact? Yes,
No, there was...
Call you for a terrorist or just...
Not really, no. I maybe got a few words and comments from people I work with, but that's not like mates or friends. They were people I work with, but again, they were just having a joke. They weren't being serious about it.
Okay, so all the view is so far so good.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, can I stop it? Baiklah pemirsa, demikian tadi sedikit perbincangan kita dengan Garry Williams di segmen kedua ini. Tapi jangan kemana-mana dulu, karena kita kembali lagi dalam program Ketika Hidayah Menyapa. Hari ini kita akan masuki pada segmen ketiga dan kita masih bersama Garry Williams tepat di sebelah saya. Well, Garry, after your embracing to Islam, what your activity now?
Well, to start with, it was the same as usual. It was work, it was hobbies, but also after I'd met my friend in Bristol, Abdullah Hood, he's called, Abdullah, he offered to help me go to Mecca for the first time. And I wasn't earning a lot, so to pay for it within the short space of time would have been really hard, but he offered to help with everything, which was fantastic of him, because this was the first time we'd met, and he'd offered all of this.
How do you feel in Mecca? Are your emotional moments, or to see the Kaaba and see Muslim all in the world?
To start with, when I landed there, it was new and strange, and I was a bit nervous, of course. But then, once I got into Mecca, I met my friends who were there waiting for me, and then the first thing we went to the Great Mosque and to the Kaaba. And we went there. That was the first thing we done, and the first time I walked down the steps into the opening of the Kaaba, it was quite an amazing experience to think. Not sad, no. I was quite like overwhelmed, and maybe you could say, it was a very happy, emotional time. It was amazing.
You were going to Umrah?
2011 was that? During Ramadan as well. Because he lived not that far from there, so he organised a few things for me.
Your friend is UK too, or Saudi Arabia?
He's British. He is British. But because of work, he'd moved to Saudi Arabia quite a long time before, in the 1990s, I believe.
They work in India?
Yeah, so he'd been working in Saudi Arabia for a long time. So he knows the area. He'd been to Mecca and Medina lots of times. So he helped a lot. He was probably the biggest help and influence I'd had.
Okay, Garry, do you have a moment that you feel the difficulty for the first time you starting as a Muslim? Like getting used to pray 5 times a day and fasting and all the things?
Yeah, there was a few things, like to pray 5 times a day. In the morning it was easy, it was fine actually, because I was up and away for work. I'd just wake up like an hour earlier for prayer. But then because of my schedule at work, it wasn't all that hard to pray, because I'd work early in the morning, then I'd go back home. So I had time for a lot of the prayers. But in the evening, Maghrib and Isha, I'd have to pray a bit late because it was after work. But overall it was it wasn't that bad. It was okay. It was, the hardest thing was just learning the Arabic.
Learning the Arabic.
Yeah, which took time. It took a few months.
Okay, Gary, from the learning Arabic, are you become to read one surah? Do you remember one ayah or something like that?
Yeah,
do you like to reading to
Yeah, I've only got one verse which I use while I pray at the moment.
Yeah, what is your what ayah?
I can't remember which one it is exactly.
Yeah. Can you say the surah?
I can't think of it off my head. When I pray, it just kind of rolls off. I remember it as I pray, which for some reason it's really easy as I pray. But if I don't pray, I always find it hard to remember, which is awkward.
Okay, Gary, you learn Arabic. Can you help for the teaching of someone else? Can you have a friends who teaching you whatever in the Arabic, the Quran, the Hadith?
My wife can read the Arabic, so she can help me a bit. I have a book I received from a friend which can help me read, but at the moment that's about it. So the learning isn't that fast at the minute. It's a bit slow. Yeah.
So have you already to start to ngaji? Some come to the kajian, some to mosque to learn about the Quran.
Learn about. I've not been to any. Well, I've been to a few, but not that many talks and speeches about Islam and the learnings of it. But at the moment, I'm only learning from either online or a few books.
Just online.
Online or some books here, which I have as well.
So do you have favorite books about Islam that you can sometimes read every day or?
I don't think I've got a favourite book. No, I don't think there's one. There's a few books which I look at occasionally and read, but I think most of the time I look online for any answers that I'm looking for.
Okay, Gary, about your perspective, what the difference culture about the life as a Muslim in UK and life as a Muslim in Indonesia? What the difference about that? The specific difference, I mean.
I think in the UK, if you're living in a big place like London or Birmingham, you have lots of other Muslims around you, but it's not a Muslim country. But I think it's okay. But the area I'm from is a farming area. I was the only Muslim I knew. So it's not hard exactly, but it's not as easy as it is here. You can't just go down the street to a mosque. It's not as easy as that. But here in Indonesia, everybody's welcoming and friendly. It's easy to find a mosque. Azan every day helps to remind you of the times, whereas in the UK there's not. You always have to check the times and make sure you're up to date.
Okay, are you now have a friends in UK as a Muslim?
Not that I've spoke to in a while. There's a few people I know in Bristol which are Muslims. They work in like the Islamic bookstore. Are they what?
From another country? Are they just British?
No, they're from Africa. Most of them, yeah. They're African. They've moved to the UK for
to work or study.
Yeah, work, study to have a better life maybe. But yeah.
Gary, as a Muslim, what you feel, about your journey to Ramadan life in Indonesia or UK? What is something different? It's easy to, making the Ramadan in here.
It is a little easier in Indonesia because of the times. In the UK, it's longer. I think you start fasting at around 4 in the morning.
4 in the morning?
Yeah, and you break fasting at around, I think at the moment, 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. So it's much longer. And because when I was fasting in the UK, it was only me, I was the only one. That made it a bit harder again as well, where everybody else was eating and drinking, and I wasn't.
So you're fasting in UK, are you breakfasting in your house family or just your house?
It was only me in my house, yeah. I would occasionally visit family or my parents, but yeah, most of the time I was in my own place for breakfasting.
That your family, just say to you, if the Eid comes, just like happy Eid or just no say anything?
They didn't really know the right words, but yeah, they'd say like happy breakfasting or happy Eid maybe. But that's about it. But I think now they might have learned some more over time.
Okay, Gary, as a Muslim, you have the biggest hope for the days in the future, and whether it's for your family and for yourself, are your biggest hope? Can you share to the viewers in West Saudi?
Hopes for the future, really, for my wife. We have a boy now, a son. We're just all hoping that we're happy, we have an easy enough life, not too stressful, and yeah, just hoping for a better life, a nice life, and to be as good and decent at people as possible.
Can you have a biggest dream to going to Hajj?
That's, yeah, for both of us. Like, I've been to Mecca on my own, but to be there with my wife and my son, that would be the ultimate dream, inshallah.
Okay, so Gary, is there a message to you that you want to share to the audience and viewers of West Saudi?
Really, just try to be open-minded. I've had a lot of maybe bad looks or people who don't understand. I have ink and tattoos on my arm. People think you're not allowed to in Islam. You need to be more open-minded. It's whatever happens before you're a Muslim is gone. It doesn't matter what that is. So as long as a person becomes Muslim and is happy about it and puts his effort in, that's all that matters.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, Gary, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khairan, and allow us to visit your house.
Yeah, no problem.
I hope you and your family enjoy Ramadan in this year.
Thank you very much, and yours.
So you can reach your dreams to going to Hajj to Makkah one day.
Yeah, one day, inshallah.
Okay.
Really hope so.
Baiklah pemirsa, demikian tadi sedikit pembicaraan saya dengan Garry Williams, seorang ustadz dan juga mualaf yang berasal dari Inggris. Ya, semoga tayangan kali ini memberikan manfaat bagi Anda, baik bagi diri saya pribadi juga bagi Anda yang sedang menonton di rumah. Kita tutup episode kali ini dengan doa kafaratul majelis. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa atubu ilaik. Akhir kata saya ucapkan assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.